Thank you very much for giving me this wonderful opportunity to show my experience, show our experience, and what happened in Fukushima. So 3 days ago, I just put it on my presentation only English, but I remember that. So it occurs. We using the Chinese character. So just I add. I'm not. I couldn't speak traditional and Mandarin, but just my Japanese sense to put it on the Chinese character. Just what I work in during this lunchtime. So let's start my presentation. It has already passed 8 years since 2011. I like to show the current, before and current situation in Fukushima, damage, discrimination, thank you, and resistance in Fukushima. This is my introduction. Like a skip. I'm working as a freelance journalist. Before I worked at the local newspaper company in Fukushima Prefecture for 20 years, but now in the independent. As you know very well, 2011 March 11, in Fukushima Prefecture, Fukushima nuclear power plant. It's a Tokyo electricity company, TEPCO. It's a private company. Nuclear power plant were exploded. 3 reactors exploded and 1 reactor was fired. It's a very sequence continuing the very significant catastrophic exposure and fire. After 1 month later, I was in Fukushima City. It's a capital city. It's about 60 kilometers far from the nuclear reactor site. I just dropped by the supermarket. In front of the entrance, 5 or 6 mothers that are talking with just standing and making a small circle. And then I came into the supermarket, and 30 minutes later I came out. I bought something and hung in the plastic bags. They are still discussion something. Then I just listening, preparing, so going out. So they said that in Fukushima, they were discussion very seriously. All of mother is very nervous and very serious face. What is our future? What is our happiness? What is my life? How we could remain the bright future to our children? Who has responsibility of this situation? Money or life? At that time, the mothers still remain in Fukushima City. They are thinking, should we evacuate to another site, another area, or still remaining? It's a very serious, it's a very narrow choice, importance time. I understand. There are very philosophical, very important conversations that are made. This is a picture in Nihonmatsu City. It has already about 60 kilometers of reactor site. I'm very sorry, this picture is very dark, but this is a hall. Local citizens invited scientists from Tokyo area. Many people rush on. So they like to understand that the current situation, radiation level or reactor core situation. They really wanted to get the information from the independent scientists, because at the time, national government didn't provide enough information, sometimes wrong information. At that time, Democratic Party cabinet settled. So a key person announced that no immediate effect, no immediate affection to human body or the situation in Fukushima City, in in Fukushima City, capital city, in Nihonmatsu City, were not involved as an evacuation zone. So, evacuation zone, many people evacuated. But the edge of the evacuation zone and the remaining zone in Fukushima City, capital city, and the Nihonmatsu City, many people really serious. We have to evacuate, volunteer evacuation. We should decide it by ourselves. Local government, national government had no responsibility to evacuation, some economical situation or some communities situation. So we have to decide a very confusing situation. So then there was a very severe damage by the authorities and the scientists. The authorities, the government gave him the authorities. Then his name is Dr. Xu Jiamei. He is a professor and vice president of Nagasaki University and the radiation risk and health advisor of Fukushima Prefecture. After March 11, Dr. Yamashita assigned as a radiation risk advisor of Fukushima Prefecture. Authority of thyroid cancer research in Chernobyl. He is very famous in Japan. He came into Fukushima and had the lecture several 5 or 6 cities. At the time, he said in front of the city, most of the city is very serious and they hold notebooks and the pens. Some people is settled their own very small video cameras, then taking record. He said that crying people will receive radiation. Smiling people won't receive radiation. Let's smile. At the time, the mother listened that his comments suddenly starts crying, and their faces are more flat, and change the color is white and blue. So very sad situation. Some fathers stand up and very angry about his comments because he became a childish. All of the citizens or past participants in the lecture. And he also said that Fukushima will be well known around the world. You didn't anything, but Fukushima became famous than Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So they were very also upset. But at the time they realized that catastrophic situation, people will be looked down as amateur, and no authorization. Then after that, some mothers put on another nickname of him. So people were upset, and we were discriminated by the government authorities. People made black joke and sharing the feelings, very sadness. Mr. Yamashita, people gave him the nickname Mr. Damashita. Damashita is in English is Mr. Deception of liar. So Fukushima means Fortune Island in Japanese. It's very irony name after March 11. The voice of a survivor, I would like to introduce one of the survivor of the voice. She got the thyroid cancer, and she's a survivor and the evacuee from Fukushima Prefecture. It's a sense of discomfort. She told me in 8 years going on, in 2019 and 2018. It is a sense of discomfort in the words, I won't forget Fukushima. The words in I won't forget Fukushima, I think that I will never forget means it is already over. Continuing to observe Fukushima and staying together with Fukushima is better for me. I like to tell as many people as possible what happened in Fukushima. The next would be you. The next victims would be you. It might be happen the same thing onto you. Many thyroid cancer patients talk to me anonymous. I had an interview many people, but most of the people conceal his name, his and her name, and the face, even if it has already passed 80 years. Especially thyroid cancer patient, the family members. Because one of the reasons is invisibility of nuclear disaster situation. It's a concealed real situation. Victim situation, survivors situation, evacuees, loss and damage. So 8 years on, Fukushima situation, I like to show that the more clearly invisible situation made in Fukushima and still continuing in Fukushima. So beginning time, that emergency time, back to March 11, 2011. This is a tsunami disaster situation. Tsunami disaster destroyed not only the physical situation, but also some mental situation and the social situation. This is a broken house. In front of the picture, there is a Chinese character. It's an elementary school where doing the Chinese character class, and every children's home, in some classes, houses, put it on the Chinese characters arts, put it on the wall, and the Chinese character show that the lifetime or livelihood and New Year's Day. So it is destroyed by tsunami disaster. This is an evacuation center in Fukushima City. It has about 60 or to 70 kilometers from the reactor site. This is a evacuation center. It's the emergency time. Huge hall, huge gymnasium hall, and many people have no clothes, no materials, something that just evacuation by himself. And this is a cardboard wall and conceal their spaces. In the evacuation hall, about 2,500 people evacuated, so mass evacuation center. Some old guys, old people got sick like a flu, so it's influenced to another evacuees. It's very faced on that next crisis after evacuation. This is a picture in Iwaki City. This family has a very old guy, 98 years old. He is just on the bed, couldn't move out, couldn't start. So then this family decided, Iwaki City is very close to nuclear facility, about 30 kilometers area, but the family decided we should remain. We never leave our elder father, and we never evacuate. So in the center of the picture, there is a tall guy, put it on the mask. He is a medical doctor of Japanese force, Japanese self-defense force, and in front of the another woman is blue, put it on the blue jackets. She is a health caregiver, and take care. Just skip. Edge and outside of exclusion zone is I already introduced Fukushima City, capital city, or another city. The turning point, the moment people start considering not only external radiation exposure, but also internal exposure. It's a human body exposure, radiation inside the body, like organs exposure. This is 1 month later, 2011, elementary school in Nihonmatsu City. It's about 50 to 60 kilometers from the reactor. This is the first grade, just to enter the elementary school students. It's now finish the classroom and they go back to their house. They put it on the masks. This is the same school. First grade students make a line, just a queue, and standing in front of the students. School ground is started the decontamination operation. Decontamination operation is a cleanup operation on the school ground, because after March 11 in Nihonmatsu City, it has already away about 60 kilometers area also met the fallout of radiation after nuclear accident exposure. So then in this area is ignored from the central government, but this local government, Nihonmatsu City, decided they do their own budget to make a cleanup of the school ground and the school buildings. This is another local school in Koriyama City. Koriyama City is a big city. It has already passed away about 60 to 70 kilometers from reactor site. In this school has finished the cleanup operation of school ground. Then another problem occurred. What should they do the cleanup and the contaminated soil? There are no dumping site at that time. So school principal decided we should monitor on the contaminated soil, like a garbage soil, mounted on the corner of the school ground and covered blue sheet. This is a rope, secured rope, and put it on the sign to the children never came into the school ground. It's a very cynical situation because the school ground is a very peaceful scene. Is many children is running around, like a fun time to spend there. But this time is a very dangerous site for children. It's also in Koriyama City, same city, preschool opened the indoor garden by themselves because outdoor is contaminated. Then this preschool decided to build a new school garden indoor, and with importing the white sand, named white sand, very clear sand from the Australia. Another resident decided to take a record for their damage of radiation. At that time and now, not clear of the damage, but in the future, 10 years later, 20 years later, if some people got sick of the cancer or leukemia or thyroid cancer, it might be need the evidence to the compensation from the typical or national government. So at the time they decided we should take a record in the future damage to get enough health care or some national compensation. It's a round from the it is a lesson and a learn from the Hiroshima Nagasaki Hibakusha case. So then they decided to take a record by themselves what they eat, what they ate, what they drank, what they do at the time, emergency time. It's a security by themselves. We have to do secure by ourselves. With that one of the way. And in Fukushima City, capital city, local supermarket started the detection of the radiation level of the local vegetables, local food, like fruits, some vegetables, and show the level of the radiation on the wall of the supermarket. In Minamisoma City, Minamisoma City also decided to start internal exposure examination. This chair types detection devices called whole body counter. At that time in Minamisoma City also ignored about the health detection, so the city government decided themselves start to secure, to keep safe or understand the real situation to detect their body. In May 2011, Tomioka Town. Tomioka Town is a location town of a nuclear power plant. People get the permission to came into the reactor very close to reactor area temporarily. So now it has already, it's still continuing to evacuation order site. Local people, I would like to explain about the evacuation mandatory zone is block the gate, and the local people, if their house is inside the evacuation zone, they has to get the permission from the national government or local government to came into their own house. If they, so I like to, if some evacuee is thinking, I like to come back to my own house, but my house is located in evacuation zone, evacuation mandatory zone. So they has to get doing the paperwork and get the permission from the government. It's a very cynical, very sad situation. My own house existing there, but they have to be on the border of evacuation line. Start measurement 2011 May. People started themselves the food measurement, food detection of radiation. Current situation inside exclusion zone, it's an evacuation zone. Now it's three categories, three divided categories ordered. One is a more severe contaminated area, is a difficult to return area. The second is a restricted residence area. The third is a preparation for the lifting on the evacuation order. This is a gate before I explained that in the Namie town. Namie town is just, some area is lifted, opened, many people come, no permission, or many people could come, but some area is restricted. If some people will have the house, like a left side of the picture, the house owner wanted to come back to their own house, they have to ask the government to open this gate, secure the gates, make many paperwork, what is the reason to come back their own house. So many people, of course, upset. But some people gave up because my house is already contaminated, very severe levels. This is a Futaba town, Futaba North Elementary School classroom in 2018 to 19. The current situation, same situation, because emergency time, this is students stay here, but evacuation mandatory order started, they has to going out as soon as possible. So they leave their stuff, their school bag, still existing now. This is a classroom whiteboard. Their evacuation time, students come together and lighting something, encouraged each other. blackboard in the elementary school. They said, "Never come tsunami. We are safe. Calm down." They encouraged, they supported each other. Precious lives are still losing by disaster-related death. Japanese government settled the two categories of the victims' death. One is a direct death and the missing. In Fukushima Prefecture, a direct death and the missing is tsunami disaster victims, and earthquake victims, like fall out and hit in head or something. That direct death is 1,114 people. But government settled another disaster death category is disaster-related death. Disaster-related death, it means sickness under the evacuation life, and the suicide. So, and another reason under the evacuation time. So this disaster-related death number is 2,202. It's clearly, you understand, that imaginally, direct death is huge amount, and the related death is a small amount. Just imagine. But in Fukushima is prolonged evacuation life. The number is changed. Disaster-related death is more. Some point time is beyond the direct death, because many people move to their own house and continue to surrounded several places under the evacuation time. The time, okay, almost time, making survivors invisible. This is a bad way. Bad way to making survivors invisible, conceal the victims. Method 1 is reconstruction policy. Building new highlight events and situation is ignoring victims and the damage. If the government, people couldn't, not only the people, many people couldn't see the real situation. What is the method? One is a normalization. The cleanup garbage still remained inside a severe damaged area and another area. So beginning time, I was very scared. Look at this dumping bags, garbage bags, but time by time, it's normalized, because still existing every time, every day. So beginning time is very scary, strange, but the time by time it's normalized. It's a drone test site. In Japanese and the local government settled now new business. It's one of the drone at the robotics industry will be introduced inside in the nuclear site. Nuclear industry is almost destroyed in Fukushima Prefecture. So national government, local government put on the new business. It's one of the drone test site, on-site the test site, or many robotics company invited to Fukushima Prefecture. Another new industry just put it on and started 2020 Tokyo Olympic Game in Fukushima Prefecture. Abe Prime Minister, Abe Cabinet called the name as Reconstruction Olympic. Recover from the disaster, look at the new events of the Olympic Games. During the Olympic game time, so people's torch run will start. The starting point is a J Village, is a former cleanup basement for the workers. I will skip the more quick methodology 2, divide and conquer. Effective dose 20 millisievert criteria issues. So before March 11, the radiation dose level criteria is 1 millisievert, but after March 11, national government going up the radiation level to 20 millisievert. New crisis return strategy. Now evacuee is still about 40,000 to 43,000 people, but it's just only study for the national government. More people are still evacuation. Many people out of the survey from the government. But national government started to, it has already started shrinking evacuation zone, and to promote the more cleanup work. Then they declare that this area was already finished the cleanup operation, you should work, and simultaneously cut the compensation money. So it's a shrinking, save money, stop the compensation or supporting policy for the returned people. And the health impact, over 200 children. Now it's 212 children are diagnosed and diagnosed thyroid cancer and diagnosed the suspected thyroid cancer. But the national government said that no related affection by the nuclear power plant radiation fallout. And also they said a need for psychological care. Psychological decontamination is needed. Methodology 3 is making new rules and new regulations. After March 11 new concept word and disaster by Japanese and local comment, Fuhyo Higai. This is a new word of the Fuhyo Higai. It's a kind meaning of the harmful rumor and the rumor damage. It's pushed on the responsibility for the victims. If some people criticize the nuclear disaster situation, governments and the media said, you caused Fuhyo Higai. To blame to some criticized people. You should promote to sell Fukushima products. But many victims and evacuees have doubts. Who caused the nuclear disaster? Is the world pressured protests to nuclear disaster? Blah, 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 blah. And then this Fuhyo Higai, it's a rumor disaster, is a very, very ambiguous definition. It's a very, government used to this Fuhyo Higai, rumor disaster, used to the stop to talk to the protest people. Every time in Fukushima Prefecture, in Fukushima City, and there are some media, many media, mainstream media also put it in and using very easily to Fuhyo Higai, rumor disaster words. And the national government started settle the recycling the contaminated water, cleanup of water. And the radiation nuclear contamination situation. South Korea banned imports of seafood from 8 provinces, prefecture in Japan, included Fukushima. Japanese government has sued Korea to WTO highest committee that Korea's South Korea import ban is unfair. And April 2019, WTO ruling South Korea won. Japan lost. In the Japan media reported that the reactions of WTO and the foreign countries are rumor disasters, a Fuhyo Higai. Sorry. So resistance for nuclear industry, further loss and dark methods. The government and the nuclear village made people violence damage and victims invisible, the damage more serious. Safety myth by exception and excuse. Caused by earthquakes, our country is no earthquakes and the tsunami. Sometimes will happen such a bad framing and bad words. It's one of the excuse. It's Japan is an earthquakes country. We are safe or something like that. Blah blah blah. Here there are no tsunami. Fukushima nuclear power plant accident was just a human-made disaster. Our workers are very wonderful, very capable, something that our company is more secure. It has very unfortunately situation. We feel sorry, Fukushima people, but not happen the same every time. Fukushima people is unlucky. Fortune Island, but unlucky people, something that. Evil's way of nuclear industry, lie, deny, and classified. Tony Devil, at the time Minister of Foreign Affairs, Marshall Islands, I interviewed him, then asked him, please advise to the Fukushima people nuclear disaster victims. He said that the same way they will use up the nuclear issues, radiation issues, because it's invisible itself. So easy to switching, safety miss, danger to switch to the safe. And but many women standing out and talk out, speak out, and making a petition and sign up, sending a letter, and the criminal court going on. Civil court fighting, over 20 cases complained by evacuees victims. I actually introduced very wonderful words. Beginning times, many citizens looking down from the authorities of science, government authorized scientists as a look down. People didn't understand very well such a look down way. But Jinzaburo Takagi, he said that citizen scientists was very important role under the nuclear issues. Then Iwaki City Mothers Group opened a citizens research laboratory named Tarachine. Tarachine means very old, means mother. They started thyroid cancer detection and contamination detection. And the NGO start measurement of the soil, their life area, living area in the like some private homes garden in front of, and the women's fighting is going on. Now is still continuing nuclear village versus civic society resistance. It's a very significant violence, the Japanese government violence, not only their own people, but also another country people. They built the export policy, nuclear power export policy beyond the border. But the area below Turkey, Vietnam, UK is successful or successfully going on because the resistance people built a new network reflected the Fukushima lessons learned. So look back the Fukushima situation and we learn a lot. Then it might be happen the same situation in our site, in our countries, in Turkey, Vietnam, UK. Building the international human chain resistance network by trust building, not money. So the last month, I met Rebecca's colleague, Tilman Laff, visit the victims in Fukushima Prefecture and show the gold medal of Peace Prize. The center guys is Iitate village people and encourage the working together. And the right side is Inla Sala. He is a key person in the Vietnam nuclear power plant stopping. Continue making the new sphere to make the situation betterment under nuclear accident with our human network, or human human chain in the new sphere, and the more strong tie with the trust among us. Thank you very much. ちょっとオーバー。